Welcome back, DFS Army. And we are here for another In the Crease NHL main slate recording here with Sean Hoy. And not here tonight is Tattoo. I think he's still sleeping. So sorry, guys. Usually we got the trio, but Tattoo's probably sleeping right now, knowing him. But before we kick off things, I do want to actually do something first. DFS Army member, or I should say past DFS Army member, D75N had passed away this past weekend. He was a member of the Shark Lab channel. He was a member of Geeks channel during NFL. He's pretty much a member of every channel on Discord. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family in this trying time of, your husband leaving this earth. So prayers out to him, out to his family, and I hope nothing but greatness of success for his family post his passing. But it's just a sad time for them, and a sad time for DFS Army as well, because we feel everybody in every member as part of the family. So I've been here a long time, and I consider each and every one of the members family, just like all the other coaches do. So prayers up to D75N and his family. Now on to the main slate of games. We have Florida. We'll look at the 7:00 games here. We got Florida playing Toronto. It looks like goalie Bob is going to be in the goal, and we have a confirmation of Stolarz in the goal for Toronto. So this is a pretty good game with Florida traveling up to Toronto. Stolarz has actually been pretty decent in the goal. Is he Joe Wool? I don't know, but he's actually a pretty decent backup goalie. What are your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, he's one of the league leaders in save percentage somehow. This game is like crazy big for the entire playoff implications, especially in the Atlantic. This is like going to go a long way to like decide who wins the division. And this
Did I lose you? Did I lose you?
You might have for a second, but yeah, divisional game and bench game.
Yeah, Florida's tough. They've been tough all year. They got Seth Jones in the trade last week. Their defense is insanely good this year right now. Even before Seth Jones came on board, they had really good two defenders, Barkov and Forsling. But now that they have Jones, it's just crazy how good they're going to be. But Forsling, he can't actually keep himself out of substance abuse, so he's actually on a 20 game. What's that? Oh, it's Ekblad.
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
it's cool. They're both really good. So
yeah. So Aaron Ekblad is out because for 20 games, because he substance abuse of performance enhancing drugs so that he's not going to be part of this. So it's actually great that they have Seth Jones. So without him, they would have been kind of suspect on the defense. But they're tough. Toronto, they're a good team. This is going to be a great game. I think it'd be a low scoring game. I don't know.
Yeah.
The defense on Florida with the defense on Toronto, they're no joke either. So I think this could be a low scoring game. It could. I don't know if it gets to 3 goals apiece, but I think it could be like a 3-2, 2-1 game potentially. Um, that's kind of how I see it. I'd probably be off of this game. Maybe goalies, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then I might take a Stolars in a revenge game. I don't want to get too many pieces of the skaters of this game because they're really good players, so they're expensive, and these like really big games for playoffs end up being
Mm,
pretty tight and pretty. Nobody wants to make a mistake.
yeah. All right, moving on to Boston, Ottawa. No one's confirmed yet, but it looks like we're gonna have Swayman and Yulmark in goal in this game. Um, Ottawa's been a weird team this year. Every time I look to actually utilize them in lineups, they've just never done well for me. I've been off of Boston all year. I've sprinkled them every now and again into MMEs, but Marchand off of this team is a big deal. And
Yep.
him being traded away is huge. I I don't know. I don't know how this one could go. This is going to be a weird one. It could be a high scoring game. It could be a low scoring game. It could be just in the middle. I don't know. This is going to be a weird one.
Yeah, this is kind of like one of those wild card games for me. Like this can go a ton of different directions. But what I'm probably like the way I'm gonna gamble on this is probably just like Linus Olmark might be my goalie tomorrow. I'm
Mhm.
assuming it'll be Olmark. They just played like a back to back, and he played the first one, then day off, and then this. So it'll probably be Olmark, and he just like won them the biggest game of the season, making like 50 saves. And
Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
he can when he gets hot, he gets really hot. Like that's just how he rolls.
He posted what a
And
39 for 40
yeah,
points. Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge production.
uh,
Um, but I think he's going to be owned too. He could
yeah.
potentially be owned. Um,
Uh, I kind of might just eat that unless like I see somewhere else that's like got a cheap goalie in it. Like because I'm assuming he'll be 8K ish or so. But like you said, with Marchand gone and Charlie Coyle gone,
mm,
like their forward group is just kind of shit. So
yeah,
they they probably won't even pile that many shots on him. But
yeah, and Pasternak, he's actually been doing pretty decent of late, but there's such a I don't know, they're hit or miss team. Boston is. I'm like I said, I haven't really been targeting them much at all in lineup, so probably won't target them at all tomorrow either. So, um,
yeah,
but the
and I'm
next
not
game,
like yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm not
no, go
that
ahead.
big on Ottawa here. They've been like playing really well lately, but I think the second line's prices are going to hike up a little bit here. And Brady Kachuk, he can't score every game, but that's about it.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Philly game, it looks like we got Andre, who's expected to be in the goal, with Urson from Philly expected to be in the goal as well. Um, Tend to target Andre when he's on the road. Been doing it all year this year. Not going to stop now. He's awesome at home. Um, so targeting him in this game, and Johansson, is he still out? The goalie behind him, is he still on the IR?
Um, I don't know about that, but I just don't.
He was for a while back, like he was
Okay.
out, but he's another guy that you can target as well. So if
Yeah.
Andre's not
That's
in
what I was gonna
there and Johansson or Johnson or Johansson's in here, then you know they're those they're goalies that you can target. So I mean Philly's pretty strong on their line one is pretty decent. I'm not going to say pretty strong. Frost is gone. So they've lost some assists there. They lost some, a good skater for them. But I don't mind targeting Philly as a stack. Whether you do a 4 or a 3-man in GPPs with or MMEing. SEing, I'd probably just stick to 3-man with them or a 2-man.
Yeah.
But how you see this game going?
This is another one where like this could go a lot of different ways, especially with how shitty Vasilevsky's been lately. Assuming it's him, like either way, like you said, kind of leaky goaltending, which is like kind of weird for Tampa. But and I don't really want to go with Tampa, like the Tampa side, because those top guys are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And they either pop way off or they just destroy your lineup. The
Right.
Philly side's kind of interesting, and they're probably like they're usually always low owned. They're cheap, like any way you want to mix and match it, and even in like if you don't want to go like with the first line or whatever,
Right.
Michkov's been really hot, and you could just plug in Ristolainen and just be good if you
Yeah,
want
that's my
to just do a
dude.
2-man.
Risto's my dude on the
Yeah,
defense. But actually, to be honest with you, in this game, I don't mind Urson in goal. He's actually been really good at home. Uh, he's had really solid bouts this season at home. Now, when he's away, obviously I'm going to target him. He's just not the same goalie, but when he's at home, Philadelphia seem to be a home team where they feed off of the crowd, their home crowd. So Urson might actually be pretty decent in this game to target at low ownership. I mean, you're probably looking at sub 3% ownership in him. So I could definitely see that working out for lineups tomorrow, especially if you're going to MME. Now, if you're doing single entry, high dollar single entry, you may not want to go there, but MME, he could be a part of your goalie portfolio tomorrow.
yeah,
The
that's
next,
interesting.
yeah, he's had some really good runs at home. I've been on him a couple of times, and then the one time I wasn't on him. To be quite honest with you, it actually cost me a qualifier to the
Yeah, I
world.
remember you saying that.
Yeah, it cost me.
Freaking
Should have won that thing twice, but it's okay.
yeah, we don't dwell in this industry at all.
um, that's all right. He's I'll be on him tomorrow. All right, moving on to the next game. We got St. Louis, Pittsburgh. Looks like we're gonna have Bennington as expected, and then Jolkiewicz. I butchered that one. In goal for Pittsburgh. These guys are expected. How you see this game playing out? You see St. Louis making a run here, Pittsburgh at home. Yeah, I don't know that this might just be I don't know where I land on this game yet.
So if I do anything with this game, it's probably the St. Louis side because they are every game's a playoff game for them. Like they have played their way into the wild card race somehow, like as a dark horse. They've been like moderately priced for a while, and I kind of can dig that, especially like with how talented some of their players are, like
Mhm.
Buchnevich and Thomas and Cairo and shit like that. But yeah, the last game Pittsburgh played, Tristan Jarry played pretty good. But if it's Nedeljkovic, the last time I saw that dude playing, he gave up a shit ton of goals and like threw a tantrum on the bench and ran away. So I might have to investigate some Blues here.
Yeah, Cryu. I mean, that guy can. He's a great one-off guy too, in like single
Yeah.
entries. Or you could pair him with Thomas. Those two are pretty good pairing together. Holloway, he's been playing really well too. So
Yeah.
yeah, the line one is actually a pretty good line for this game for St. Louis. I'll probably be off of Pitt. I'm not
Yeah.
really
They're
gonna
so
go there.
sketchy.
Yeah, they're hit or miss so much this year. All right. Let's see where we at here. Okay, the other 7 o'clock game is Vegas traveling into Columbus. It looks like Aiden Hill is going to be expected to be in goal for Vegas, and Elvis in the goal for CBJ. So I'll let you take this one away. I'll probably end up watching this game tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
watch it too. We'll DM. We'll be buddies tomorrow.
yeah, I won't go to the game, but I'll definitely be watching this one. This is a good one.
We'll go if they make the playoffs. I'll make you go.
I've already told my brother. I was like, dude, CBJ gets in the playoffs. We're gonna have
It's
to
yeah,
go.
yeah. Well, they've been struggling lately, but like they can switch it on a dime. They have the most jarring roads, like home road splits in the league. I forget exactly what it is on the road, but you could figure it out by doing their record, and then the math at home is they are 26-4. So they've been firing at home, and they are a top like 5 team in goals for, and that's like what we want. The problem is Vegas is pretty stout, and if it's like Aiden Hill, like he's really good, but both sides of this game could pop, especially with how leaky the Jackets have been. Granted, it was on the road, but they're like when they are in contention for the playoffs and it becomes February, March, that building fills up.
Yeah,
So it'll be fun, and that's a young team, so the crowd will probably help them out.
yeah, for sure. Um, they do make the playoffs. I'll have to get them that day that they make it, and I'll try to get them away from the cannon. I hate that damn cannon. Being around, sitting around that damn thing. Uh, yeah, I sat near it once, and I was like, never again, man. If I ever gonna do this, it's so loud when
You
it
know
goes
when it's
off.
coming though.
I know, but it's so loud still. It's
Uh,
like I got damn CTE from that shit or something. Um, yeah, I'm with you here. Now, if Isla Samsonoff is in goal, this could be a different level of game for
yeah.
CBJ. He actually is not Aiden Hill in the goal. Um, he is far susceptible to other teams scoring on him. But Aiden Hill he's a really good goalie. That could force CBJ scoring to be lower. But CBJ at home is a very good team. They skate very well on their home ice. They feed off the crowd. It's just real lively. You know, with JG going down this year, passing away, they just have really been a team that is on a mission for him. And so I think they're going to continue the trend. I think there'll be 27 wins after this one. So, um,
Um, yeah, and the little sneaky thing is like ever since like they're still fighting some injuries, like Monahan's out, Sillinger's out, and they bumped Olivier up to the second line, and he signed that big contract, and he actually has like 5 points in 2 games or something.
hmm,
And you know how DraftKings pricing is, like they're not quick to the whip, and then on a 9 game slate, he might be a
yeah,
sneaky little like plug in one off if you need someone, even if you're like not playing this game.
yeah, Fantilli. I mean, he's so expensive.
Yeah.
I gotta check his price tag for tomorrow, but he's been in the upper sixes. Let me check him for tomorrow, but yeah, he's pretty expensive. Let me see here. Well, he's
What's
actually
your
cheap now. He's 6, so that's cheap for him.
Is Olivier still like 3K? He might be like 3K.
Mm, Let me take a look. Go to wings. 2,900.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, that's
little
pretty good.
cheap one off if you need it.
Yeah, he's pretty good. That's a pretty good bet right there. And KJ, I mean, KJ's 42, Voronkov is 49, and Krill is 53. So they're pretty affordable.
Yeah,
Let me check Renewski. He's getting up there a little bit. He's pushing
yeah,
8K. He's 78. Um, so he may not be able to be rostered in a 4-man, um, which makes line one really tough to play without him.
yeah.
So those are the choices we got to make tomorrow. But moving on to the 7:30 game, Edmonton is traveling all the way into the East Coast to take on New Jersey. It looks like we're going to have Stuart Skinner expected in the goal for Edmonton, and then Markstrom expected in the goal for the Devils. Yeah, the Devils they've been kind of on a tear since Four Nations has concluded. They were kind of on a semi-tear there prior to Four Nations. This is a tough one because everybody is so expensive in this game. Let's see.
Yeah.
I think we get McDavid. He is 9K and Drysdale is 8,500. It's still a lot for those two. Pretty sure Hyman is up there as well. Let me see, where's Hyman? He's 6,100. So if you're going to pair those three, it's going to cost you uh, a good bit, 2,400 or 23 to 24,000 in salary. So for three guys, that's a lot. So I don't know if I'll be able to get to Edmonton in this one that much. I'm sure I'll probably try to get some Jersey in there if I MME tomorrow. But both teams, I mean, they're in the hunt for the playoffs, and this is another one where both teams they win. It's just that much more where they're increasing their seed in the playoffs. So
Yeah, and I'm kind of like I can see where you're coming from, especially like there's probably a couple value guys, maybe value-ish guys on the Devils. Like Brat
Palat,
was like only like 6K last time. Yeah, Palat, Luke Hughes gets the promotion with Dougie Hamilton down. But I'll probably go on the flip side. Like, I don't know if I want McDavid's line because Jersey's at home, so they get last change, and Nico Hischier is a legit defensive center. Like, I mean, it's hard to defend McDavid, but I might go with some Draisaitl here. New Jersey's pretty banged up on defense, and also Jack Hughes is out, so Draisaitl might match up well depending on how the lines shake out.
yeah, and with Hughes out, this is going to be a really interesting. Like Hersher, I'm sure it will be Hersher. So it looks like they got Nico and then Timo with Brat. That's a pretty decent pair. That's a pretty decent line there.
Yeah. Brat just killed the Jackets.
Yeah, he can turn it on really quickly.
He's quick.
Now Timo's 68.
But not to cut you off, but
go ahead.
a point that I forgot was Edmonton getting Wallman, and like his price finally ballooned, which it should, but he's just good at defense, like just all around. So like Edmonton's that much tougher to get now with him and Nurse and Bouchard.
Yeah, it was tough with Nurse and Bouchard without Wallman, but yeah, I forgot Wallman went over. Yeah, from the Sharks. So that I was surprised they gave him up. because him and he was having a really good run there with oh crap, I'm blanking on his name, but
Celebrini.
yeah, and they are just like they were good. They were great together. So, and they even they gave up Zetterlund too.
Yep, I forgot to mention that.
But yeah, this is gonna be a tough game though. Hughes out, that makes it tougher for Jersey, but they could still get it done at home. We'll see. Next game up on the docket is the Rangers taking on Minnesota. Looks like we got Igor in the goal for the Rangers and Gustafson in the goal for Minnesota. If it's Mark Andre in the goal for Minnesota versus Gus, this is probably a no dice for me for the Rangers. Mark Andre he's really freaking good in the net, and he's going to be at home. I'm just not going to attack him. It's tough, but Gustafson, I'll attack him a lot. The Rangers are starting to play better than they had in earlier part of the season to the mid part of the season. So they're starting to come on, but I don't know if they can make the playoffs. I think it might be too little too late, but you never know. They might make another push here in the latter part of the season. But the line one is good with JT Miller coming over, Creeder, Zababjan, Panarin. That's a pretty good solid line one. Power play one. Until Minnesota has Kaprizov back and Ek back, this team is still going to struggle, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts on this game?
So I'm just avoiding this altogether, probably. I'm not trying to figure it out. So both teams here are like, this is a huge game for both of them. They both really need 2 points. Minnesota's really banged up, had that hot start. They're falling back in the standings a little bit. They want to stay in the third spot, but they'll probably be a wild card. And the Rangers, like, they're fighting with a bunch of teams for the wild card. But so these tight games, like I said with Toronto, they're usually pretty low scoring, and these are 2 low scoring teams anyway.
Yeah.
2 decent goalies. Like, I mean, Igor is Igor, but I'm just pretty much just Xing it out.
Yeah. It's kind of where I was at. But if Gus is in, I might take a stab at a couple of lineups with New York. I don't know. If I'm doing 100 lineups, it might be like 5. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it with them. All right, moving on to the 10:30 games. These are the last 2 games on their slate. Washington traveling out to LA. It looks like we got Charlie Lindgren expected in the net for Washington, and then Darcy Kemper is confirmed in the net. So that's a plus that we don't have to really like wait and see who is going to be in the net for one of these teams, for both of these teams, I should say. But yeah, Kemper is a pretty decent goalie. He's been pretty decent at home. I like Kings this year. They're a fast team. They've been a fast team all year. I'm not sure how I can even think of even rostering Charlie Lindgren in goal. The guy has been atrocious most nights that he's been in the net. It's actually, if Logan was in the goal, this would be like a much different game. But Charlie in the goal, I could see where you can attack him with the Kings. What are your thoughts on this game?
So I might be a broken record here. with the X out because I'm just not gonna try to figure it out because I like to put my money in places where I have a pretty
Mhm.
good guess as to what's going to happen. And the Kings have been really good at home, but Washington's just been good everywhere, and both teams have good goaltending. So I don't like it. Just doesn't interest me because Washington could put up 6, they could get 1.
Yeah,
Like there's just good players everywhere, but
it's tough. It's
nowhere. I can't definitively like just be like, oh, this is probably what's going to happen because like
right.
probably nothing's going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, these are two good teams. These two teams. I mean, Washington is pushing for the top in the division. 1, 2, 3, right in there. Um, there might even be one right now. I don't know.
Yeah, they're pushing for the President's Trophy, like the best
Okay,
team in the league. Yeah,
so
they won the Metro already, pretty much.
yeah, so their division, they're crushing. Um, so they can't just go on autopilot, and they got to
Yeah,
still win to continue to keep um, that winning way going into the playoffs. But LA's tough though.
yeah, that's a playoff team too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they end up in the playoff mix. Do they end up in middle of the pack, like 4 or 5, or it'll be interesting. See where
They're going to
they
play
end
Edmonton for the 5th straight time.
up.
It's like change the playoff format, dude.
Yeah. And then our last game, Chicago, going out to San Jose. Looks like we got Soderblom. And then my favorite goalie to attack in tournaments on any night that he's in the goal, Georgiev. This guy is a leaky sieve in the goal, man. This is like you see him in the goal, you're like, load up time, baby. Um, so
Yeah.
if he is confirmed in the goal, I will have about 10 to 15% Chicago
Oh,
if I'm running a lot of lineups in MME. Um, and
yeah.
I'll have a lot of Bedard.
Yeah,
Um, go ahead.
like oh, sorry. I was getting excited. Um, I play one big lineup and there's a good chance that Bedard will be in there. Like his line mates suck, and I got to figure out like what their lineup's going to be doing and stuff. But San Jose traded a lot at the deadline, and
Mhm.
Georgiev is just garbage. But like, it's just kind of funny. Like the last 2 games, I'm like, oh, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. And then you get 2 of the worst teams in the league, and I'm just like, I could probably figure out what's going on here. And I'm just like, give me Bedard. I might like Bedard and Celebrini might have like a
Back
little
and forth.
rivalry. Yeah, because they're so young and top picks and all that. Like I might delve into this game a bit on both sides,
Well,
but mainly Chicago.
like we talked about earlier with Wallman, he's off of San Jose, and he
Hmm.
was actually really good defender for them. Now that they don't have him, their defense is not as good.
Crippled. Yeah.
And so I was really surprised that they let him go. Um, that was one of the most surprising moves that I saw of all the
Yeah.
trades. I was really surprised on that one because he's young and he pairs with Celebrini very well. And they hit like they pair off of each other like
Yeah.
every
Like
game. And
I follow a shit ton of everything NHL, like all the insiders and everything. And that happened like the day before the deadline. Like, and nobody had that.
hmm,
And it reminded me of, like the hurdle trade last year, where like nobody had that. It was just like a thing that happened.
yeah. But I mean, Eklund, he's a pretty good winger. And Will Smith has been pretty decent winger this year, but it's just Celebrini in this one. If you want anyone from San Jose, um, But really, I would be attacking this game from the Chicago side.
Yeah.
I like Bedard in this one. If Georgiev is in the goal, um, I don't mind him with Teravainen. You could even pair him with Donato, um, Petruzzi, Vlasic. I mean, they're all there that you can pair him with. Or if you like, if you're going into like, I don't know, a high dollar single entry contest, just have Bedard as a one off. That's not a bad way to play this. So, or you could, ping pong action with Bedard with Celebrini. So it's a good way to play it. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of the game where when I saw Georgiev in here, I was like, okay, time to load up time. So yeah,
You're gonna have some vomit lineups where you have Chicago and Philly,
I
but
I
it's like
tend
good.
I
It's
tend to
good
do
though.
that on these larger slates because a lot of people don't like. I don't know. They don't target those pairings together, and so it just makes for real interesting lineups. But
Yeah, and you could like that's a type of lineup where you could like put like Overinsky in, or like put Draisaitl Bouchard in because you can just afford it.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna.
Something crazy.
I think I might. I don't know. I tend to play three mans, and I think I'm gonna attack Bedard in three mans because a lot of the times when I play typically two guys, two players, and kind of know where they're going to land. And so, whoever is the highest salaried guy that is projected the best is where they start, and then they go down from there. So probably going to be McDavid or Drysdale. So if I go with Bedard, it gives me a little bit of a difference there. But I don't know. Got to dig into it more, I guess. This is just rough
Yep.
outlook right now. Start digging into it more tomorrow, and it'll give me a better idea. Um, but that's everything for the games, everyone. So are you going to just mainly stick to the high dollar single entry, the 121 tomorrow?
Yeah, probably something like that. I usually pick out something that has like the highest cash rate. Um, that's a big thing I look at. Like people might be like, "Oh, well, this contest only has 32 people
Mhm.
or 33 people, but if 8 are cashing, like that's pretty solid, especially like if it's single entry and
Yep.
you're only up against one of the whales, like that's I saw that 555 the other day and I was like salivating. I was like kind of looking at it. I was like, oh my God. But I was
Yeah.
like, these dudes are just gonna like people are gonna play with like 20 grand. Like they're just gonna be in there. And I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's the tough part about when you get into those contests and there's more than one or two entries per player.
Yeah.
Um, you get guys in there that aren't really huge NHL guys, right?
But they're
But
big analytics.
yeah, they know they go with the projections mainly. They utilize projections as their key component to building lineups, and they brute force lineups, um, and they run those lineups. What's the guy? Dollar Bill. He's that
Hmm.
way. He's in all those. There's another guy I can't remember off the top of my head who
Oh,
the
there's a
player.
lot of them.
Yeah. So these guys like that you see Dollar Bill, he's a primary one. Um they basically stick to pretty much a core around the highest projected players, and then
Yeah.
they build the lineups around them. So and highest projected stacks too, I should say, when they're doing MMEing. Um Guys like Sakima, they don't MME that much. or hardly at all. They're mainly cash players that play their cash lineups in single entry contests. So Fire Dog is another guy. He does do MME, but he's cash as well. So when I play, I target those two guys because I know I can beat them on a night to night basis, and I have beaten them. There was a whole week where I think I went 5 out of 6 slates where I beat them. So in a row, and that's pretty big. So
Burns ain't scared.
Nah, I don't. I'm not scared of anybody. I'll target McLovin in NFL. So, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, why would you ever target that guy?" Because I beat him. I know him. I know for that slate I was better than him. So, but yeah, be careful where you like how you build lineups. 4-3 was great one day. It may not be great this day. 3-3, but those are typically how you want to build MME lineups. 4-3s,
Yeah.
maybe a 3-3. But when you get into single entries, things start to change a little bit.
Yeah, shit gets weird.
Yeah. So keep it kind of fluid and don't just keep everything stagnant. Change it up every now and again. Keep it fluid.
That's why, like, I just go with the flow. Like tonight, I do have a 4-3 actually, but that's like really rare for me. It's it's a smaller slate. You gotta put your eggs in some baskets and go for it. But like on these bigger slates like this, like maybe it'll be a 3-3-2. Like I don't go in like thinking I need to do this or this. Like I go in, like figure out what I like, and then I'm not afraid to play like even 3 or 4, usually not 4, but like 2 or 3 one-offs or something that are like the best point per dollar plays than in my eyes. Like the other day, Bjorkstrand was 2,500. I wrote him up and all that, and he sucked, but that's the correct play, especially in those contests because he was 65% owned.
Right.
If he's 2,500 and scores 1 goal or like hits the shot bonus, you're behind. So it's better to just have that blocker. Like you need to, in those types of contests, you want to be very aware of like who the best point per dollar plays are. And if like they fit the stacks that you want, or if you just want to have a couple different stacks, whatever. But
for sure,
it's just like a mix and match. Like it's just figure it out as you go. Like experience is a big factor.
Agreed. So how do you maybe something like this to end the show tonight? How do you typically build your lineups for single entry? Are you building around your goalie? Are you building around a stack? How do you start, I guess, your build?
The first thing I'll do is I look at the goalies. I'm gonna see like if anyone's confirmed or not, or like if there's like, especially this point of the season, like if teams like need points and it's a big matchup or something, like I can kind of guess who the goalies are going to be, and I want to pick my goalie first. And also when I'm looking through all the goalies, I want to figure out who I'm targeting. And then I look at the line rushes in the morning and stuff like that. And if my top line and like who I'm targeting is like also on the power play, that might be my key stack, whether it's 2, 3, or 4. It's usually 3. It can be 2. Like tomorrow, if we're really digging on Bedard, I might, just looking at it now, I can already tell you I'm going to be looking at Olmark or something. I'll be looking at Bedard. And if I'm looking at Bedard, I want to see if one of those cheap wingers or something is on the power play with him. And then I'm just going to start from there and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's a good way to start it. It's generally it's really kind of how I start too. Goalies, who's confirmed in. From there, I look at the goalies that I can target with stacks. From there, and then I target the goalies that I know I want to use. So if I'm doing cash, I kind of get it down to like 2 goalies, and then from there, it's pretty. It's not as challenging to break it down to just one goalie because I run one lineup in cash across multiple entries. Um, and it's difficult when you look at 8K plus goalies.
Yeah.
And when you look at the domination station and it has a goalie that's 8K plus and they're projected for like 16, 17, 18 points, I tend to stay away from them because I know everybody else is going to target them, especially in cash. Because the projection systems across the spectrum of DFS content providers, it's all going to be within about a half a point to a point. And so you know who's going to be on who. I can pretty much tell you, like, if McDavid is projected for 16 points in cash, he's probably going to be high owned. It's just the way it is. Everybody tends to target a high dollar guy with high projection. It's just like Nikita. If he's projected high, most people they're going to own him.
Yeah.
Matthews is another one.
You can legit just like every single slate that McKinnon plays, just pencil him in cash almost.
Yeah, pretty much. And for me, I kind of get different. I play the higher dollar defenders. So the week where I went and I went 5 out of 6 against Sakima and Fire Dog, I think 2 or 3 of those nights I had Werniewski in those, and
Hell
I
yeah.
had them and nobody else had them. So
Those guys can pop. Like it's a big investment, but it's a big positional difference. You know, like I go cheap a lot for defense, but every once in a while I'll do that. And like Sanderson, Werenski, Bouchard, like those guys can pop a 30.
Yeah, for
at
sure.
Low ownership.
And so I'll make lineups that way, and if I don't like them, like or I can't get to the stacks that I want to see, then I come off of them. But otherwise, I stay on them. And I use the domination station. I run it naked, no rules, to see who it likes and who it doesn't like. Then I kind of build from there. It's just how my process is when I'm building single entries and cash game lineups.
Makes sense to me.
But that's all we have for today. I hope everybody has a great slate tomorrow. And as always, here at DFS Army, we will see you at the top of the leaderboards. Helmets up.